Alan Tucci.
Here.
Commissioner Tucci.
Here.
Commissioner Grace. Here. Commissioner Lewis.
Here.
And Mr. Rona.
Here. Next item, approval of the meeting minutes from April.
So moved.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Dan, wastewater treatment plant?
So the March update is in your package. The first document is the invoice for the ICIs for the month of March. It's $872,000 less retainage. Things are going well. Then you have a summary of the invoice payments. We're on payment 43, which is obviously 3.5 years. And the project's moving ahead considerably well. The next sheet is the application for payment, which didn't reproduce very well, but we'll get through it. And then we have the progress meeting, 44. The pump stations are essentially the main work going on. They're progressing well. We have change orders, and you have your own document there with change orders and allowances on the next page. And requisition status for the state has improved a little bit, but they're still behind. But again, it's just a pass-through from the commission to Viola, and they've been working with us on that fairly well, Viola. And then you have a schedule with the look ahead for the month of May, as well as continuing on till the end of June. So all in all, things are going well, and soon we'll have a plant that's gonna be set up for success for the next 20 years. So it's good stuff, and we haven't got the debt service payment yet, so that'll come, but we're doing well.
Great. Any questions? Treatment plant, Rick?
Yes, Mr. Chairman. The Water and Sewer Commission is in compliance with all federal and state drinking water regulations. The water supply capacity as of yesterday was at 88%. The average for this time is 86%. All 10 contract full-time positions at the water plant are currently filled. And to get back into capacity, so as we talked about the last meeting, so the reason why we're at 88% is because that we're maintaining it. So that we have a freeboard in the reservoirs to prevent from flooding. Especially what happened in May 2006 was a significant flooding event when water was going over the spillways and flooding neighborhoods. So that's why. So basically both. At this time, we could still have storm runoff, and we're not taking any water from the rivers anymore. The Saugus River was actually shut down today. The Foots River has been off since April 6th. So last week, Dwayne Levanchi from DEP Water Management Act, he sent me an email asking if we could get our reservoirs to 100% by the end of our pumping window, which is May 31st. So I explained to him, just what I told you, why we're at 86, 87%, and that we're pretty frustrated by the fact that determinations are being made on a monthly basis that goes back a month, and before you meet again, we're actually 2 months. So up until the drought task force, which met last week, they were going by March 1st. So now they're going by April 1st. So I said that was particularly frustrating for us. So he did talk. They might meet 2 weeks because they know we had a good rainfall this last weekend and possibly make an adjustment. So what they did was we were on a level 2 flow, which was complete water ban besides handheld watering. There are some exemptions for like sod, for hydrant flushing, and so forth, but now it's at a level 1. And the only difference between a level 2 and a level 1 is that we can allow people to water 1 night a week. That's basically it. So overnight hours, 1 night a week, which is almost impossible to track. So it's basically the same as a water ban. So I don't want to take the water ban signs down yet because we don't want people watering those. The positive side about it is it's been so wet that you really don't have to water the lawns right now. Lawns are green right now on their own. So the other thing about it is during the drought task force, there are river advocate groups that were pushing to keep it at level 2. And what they're doing is they're weaponizing the water management act regulations to pretty much keep us communities in a drought year round. You could notice in past meetings they discussed that they would go by 3-month preset data, then 6-month preset data. Now it's 9-month preset data. They went 9 months 6 months ago, then we would go in the wet spring. Last spring was very, very wet. So it seems like they're kind of using the data to keep this growing. That's the way it seems to me. And I relayed my concerns to both Dwayne Levangie and the Mass Waterworks, Jennifer Peterson, who's having groups to talk about this. So right now, as it stands, we really can't let people water the lawn. And the next update could be 2 weeks, otherwise it's a month away.
Okay. All right, thank you. Any questions for Rick?
Just one, we're at 88%,
Yeah.
is that what you said?
Yep,
And there's a water ban in effect?
yes. No, that's not because of us, obviously. It's part of the new registration statements that came out. There are stipulations in there that we have to go by what the environmental secretary declares based on her information that she receives from a drought task force. So on that task force, there are members who are part of the different river associations
Yep.
that are really focused on preventing withdrawals from their particular rivers. Our main river is the Ipswich River that has the biggest concern. And if you went to the Ipswich River, you drove up Route 1 yesterday, you would see that the river flowing all the way to the telephone poles, which feed power over to the arena.
Right.
And the CFS is 226 today, the average flow is 87, which is 56 million gallons a day is the average. Right now, it's 146 million gallons of flow, going by a gauge in South Middleton. So the river's in flood stage. And if you, not to get too much into it, but if you take a walk in Lynn Woods, you're familiar with Lynn Woods, there's areas on trails that normally are dry, are seeping out water.
Yeah.
It's not because there's a brook there, it's because the ground is so saturated that water's pouring down hills that, like I said, that normally are dry. So,
Has this happened in the past?
no.
This is-
The registration statements were issued 2 years ago.
Yeah.
This is the first time they were conditioned. They attempted, the DEP Water Management Act folks attempted to condition them 10 years ago. And since they didn't have a mechanism in the regulations to do so, it was overruled. Since then, the water management people have modified their regulations, which we are appealing. We're waiting for a final decision on that, which enabled them to put these type of conditions to protect the water sources, if you will. And so in our registration statements, it's literally tells you what a level 1 drought, mild, level
Yeah.
2, significant, level 3 is extreme. So this was one of our concerns we had. This is why we appealed it. And what happened was you had 2 years before it came into effect. So since we received the registration statements 2 years ago, April, this is the first time it became in effect. And this is, wouldn't you know it, right away, we had this situation.
Yeah, so they recently changed their regulations. Despite our reservoirs at 88%,
Yeah.
we have a water ban, which is kind of insane.
Isn't that hurting we're here to sell water to our ratepayers, you know?
That's a great point.
Can't do it.
It's kind of funny, most of the exempt water uses are non-revenue. Flushing, some community gardens.
A little bit of
Seems
golf
kinda-
course.
Golf course, football.
Golf course.
Yeah,
It's the only
But you
one
can't water your
they
lawn.
use. They don't get any money.
unbelievable. I can't
Yeah.
get through that part.
So I mean, from their perspective, why did they do this? I mean, is it some sort of?
There's a lot of pressure from the river advocacy groups, the watershed, Ipswich River Watershed Association, the Charles River Watershed Association. There's a lot of pressure because if you go up to the Ipswich River in the summertime, a lot of times it's dry. The problem I have, the biggest problem I have is that they try to put a one-size-fits-all on this. And there's a difference between people that use groundwater year-round and we that use surface water. We only can take withdrawals from December 1st to May 31st.
Right.
So during the normal dry periods, we are not withdrawing water. And we have to leave at least 10 million gallons in the river after we're pumping. We have to maintain that. So it's pretty frustrating.
So we're saying, don't water your lawn, right?
Yeah.
It's just an announcement, we don't have any enforcement or
That's not-
ticketing or whatever, what if somebody reports?
They expect you to enforce it. they expect you to enforce it. Now, to what lengths they will go, it could be like, we're dealing with our registration statements here, which basically is our ability to take water from the North Coastal Basin, which includes the Saugus River and runoff to the reservoirs, and the Ipswich River Basin.
Yeah,
The last thing that we want to do is have some type of actions on our part that jeopardize those registration statements, because without them, we don't have a business.
I understand. Some of our residents are not watching Lynn Television, are not aware about such announcements.
Right.
The signs are up. We left the signs, every entry point to the city has the signs.
I did not read the sign. You hear that all the time, right, Rich?
Yeah.
So,
Of course they don't.
what would be our enforcement as far as those residents?
Technically, what we do is first time's a warning, if we become aware of it.
So it's coming from this
There's a
office?
warning at first,
Okay,
so there's always a warning for us, so there's no one can say, well, I didn't know, and you hammer me, and then it's $200 per offense after that.
Well,
right, good, okay.
But there's always a warning
Good to know.
first. So if someone, we did get wind of someone using water, I guess it's just been so wet lately that I'm not aware of anybody actually using water. But several years ago, when we were really low, we went around and issued warnings to people and said that, we catch you again, you're gonna,
So warning, and then 200
per violation.
per violation, and that's it?
Yes, and if technically, if we were literally gonna run out of water, like if we
Yeah.
thought we were gonna run out of water, we only had like, say, 90 days left or 60 days left,
Right.
then we could threaten turning off the water.
Yeah.
But in this case, I wouldn't recommend that. I would just be,
Right, right.
slapping the wrist.
How do you normally become aware of it? Do you just like drive by and notice sprinklers on, or?
Yeah, sometimes,
He doesn't sleep 24/7, he's driving around.
That's my,
Or is it every
He's full-time,
fortnight, or-
he's like a full-time, he's a water and sewer police officer.
That's what I'm wondering.
Maybe we could get you to do that.
what?
people complain.
Yeah.
People
put some
complain
grass
when
in.
you notice a wet sidewalk. It's that kind of thing.
Yeah.
Because all the water, if it's done right, is overnight anyways.
Right.
So,
So we put that it's on our website, and we also put a link to the DEP website explaining this new regulation.
And all the islands in the city of Lynn are still watering, I believe. I see them.
they're not supposed to.
They're not supposed to be. They're not supposed to be.
They were watering last week, right in market, right at
City
by the
property?
Commons. What?
City property, or?
Yeah, in the Commons. Yeah.
No, athletic fields are exempted.
Okay.
But not like vegetables for food, like the city community garden, that's okay.
It's all right.
But the traffic islands, they shouldn't. be.
Okay.
They should be.
There's a ticket for it. We can ticket them, right? Can we ticket the city?
There.
Right. All right. Thank you.
All right.
Thank you very much.
You're welcome.
CSO update, Anthony?
Thank you, Chairman. The fill-in is back in town, they've remobilized, and they've completed their electrical work in the electrical building, so they're in the process of doing the testing at the pump station. Contractors completed testing on the various segments of the 54-inch force main. They've done the final connection to which is the phase 2, which was the original portion of the 54-inch line that's all been tied in. And they're performing startup operations now. They're probably about 4 to 6 weeks out before everything is completely tested and the station is up and running. The phase 4 and 5, the Gioso project, the pipe work, most of the main pipe of the 72 inch has been completed. Is 936 of the 1,000 feet. I think they're almost done. It's 8 more segments to put in that'll be completed. They completed the crossing, the box culvert to the Saugus force main that traverses across Bennett Street, so that's been installed. They're now installing the 60-inch. Obviously, the pipe gets smaller as it goes down into the system. The next little bit of a hurdle is we're moving into the General Electric property, which we've got agreements and easements, and we've been meeting with them for safety reasons and so forth with GE. And that's all in place, and they'll start to move into that property and complete that 60-inch pipe. And that's the update for the CSO.
Thank you. Any questions? Nope. Kings Beach,
So the April report's in your package. We proceeded with the heavy cleaning in the problem areas that we couldn't really get done. As a result of that, there was one potential illicit connection that turned out to be into the proper sanitary sewer. We dye tested 20 some odd homes to try to confirm those, and they were as well in the sanitary sewer. Eric, why don't you take over? So we haven't identified any services or any connections from the sanitary sewer into Kings Beach. Which I guess is good news, but.
Yeah, we've exhausted about all the pipe segments that we can do on Saturdays or weekdays. So we are coming back next Sunday, 9th to 18th. We'll be trying to work up on Western and Chestnut, where we need details and overnight work in order to get, we've got about a half mile left to attempt between Chestnut and Western, a portion of Essex, which we can't do except for night work, and then down by the beach on Ocean as it kind of goes towards Swampscott. There's a segment that we have to do at night too down there. And that will kind of complete the last of the cleaning and inspection with the cameras. We're also gearing up for the spring field screening. We're going to be going back out to all the major sub-catchment areas. So it's the 16 areas we subdivided the watershed into. We're going to go back and revisit now that we've cleaned, inspected, and disconnected the 6 to go back and see what the general quality of the whole watershed is. And then target the follow-up actions of whether additional smoke or dye testing is needed. So we can kind of carry that through the summer just to keep, now that we've got the cameras completed, hopefully by then, it's really back out and just doing boots on the ground field screening and trying to do more smoke and dye testing as recommended by the results.
And this last bit that you did you find many cracks in the pipes or anything?
Generally speaking, we found the drainage that we've been in to be, have rather minor structural deficiencies. There's been portions of it that was replaced brand new as part of the sewer separation work in the 90s and 2000s, so that's in generally fair condition because it's pretty young in the grand scheme of infrastructure. We have found a couple odd instances where there's been either pipe collapse, like which is evidenced by how much debris is in, like it's too full to clean. So there's only been a few instances of that. Up on Maple, north and western, there's a segment that we found that will have to get replaced. But generally speaking, we haven't had too many, they're very acute deficiencies, not systemic things.
Right.
But generally speaking, we found it to be in pretty good condition.
Most
Just
of
a lot of cleaning and maintenance.
the area around Maple and Western, was that one of the newer pipes that was replaced, or is that
No,
what
it's
went to the
old,
old
it's
one?
older, yeah.
anyone have any questions? Anyone in the public have any questions?
Hi, I wanted to follow up on some information you gave me last month. Can you speak more about the hot spots that were found at the middle school? Like how many issues there were, what the CFU numbers were, how long we've known about them as issues?
I don't have the numbers sitting here in front of me, but generally speaking, we had instances in the drains that are tributary to Old Stacy Brook just north of the middle school. There was some screening data that got us to go back in and do more detailed screening. We've done smoke testing and dye testing and still have not found a conclusive hit as to where it is. We're going back in to do more of those. That's where the dye testing canvassing has been, because it was more effective to try and go door to door than waiting on people to contact Neil. Because we haven't had a really good success rate on response from the residents or the property owners. So we have done a fair amount of dye testing, most of which has concluded that those properties are tied into the correct sanitary. We haven't had any. We have had a few inconclusives that we have to go back and do additional screening and testing for. We have sent the cameras in the sewer system as well in some of those areas, so it's still more investigation.
Okay. I think I'm just trying to, because obviously a lot of work has happened over the last 20 years. And then there's also the CCTV work, so I'm trying to sort of mentally put together like a timeline of like what could have gone wrong, to try to sort of ask, you know, why is this why are we discovering this now, and where might this also be happening if this is a recent discovery?
So we're going further into the system that past programs have. So instead you're doing more, let's say, fewer locations over a broader area. We're going more granular.
Okay.
So it doesn't, a series of hits in the same segment doesn't mean you're seeing different things. It could be you're just downstream of where the thing is and you see it all 3 locations.
Okay, got it. So you're basically just going deeper.
We're working our way bottom up, so like if you keep hitting it, you know, you keep looking for the one that's the most upstream.
Okay.
And then if you eliminate it, then you should see it clear out. If
Yeah.
you don't, there's something in between where it cleared and where it goes. So you kind of, it's a systemic process. You just have to keep doing it in iterations.
Okay, great. Thank you for clarifying that.
Okay. With that, we're on to business in the budget.
Budgets.
I think that's you, buddy.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. In your packages, there was a proposed FY 2026 budget. There was a proposed FY 26 to 28 capital improvement plan, and a FY 26 proposed rate and fee schedule. Sent both emails and put a little paper in the package just in case.
Are the rates going up in any way next year?
4%.
4%.
Proposed 4%.
And-
4 cents.
And we've communicated that there's going to be a public hearing
Next month, yeah?
through Lynn Community Television and through the paper, correct?
Yes, and through the city hall.
And that'll be on June 4th at
6
6 o'clock.
Yes.
Okay.
Are these rates, are they the same as other cities and towns? The rate, 4%?
Well, these are specific to our budget, so
Okay.
I'm not sure what the other cities in town. I think we're sort of surrounded by MWRA
Okay.
people and people that are on, but this is specific to our.
Ryan, just historical question.
Sure.
How often we increase our rates here? Every year?
We only do it once a year, and it's at this time of year.
It's always 4%.
It's been 4% for 8 years straight, yes. Prior to that, it was 0, prior to that, it was 2. Then there was some, prior to my being here, but there was some 12% and 14s, depending upon the flux with probably debt services, sort of the main driver.
So you're confidently saying that 4% is just, it's a good increase?
It's a good increase. So, yeah, so our budget's going up a little bit over $2 million from this year from last year. Debt service is going up because we're gonna start paying for the first half of the wastewater treatment plant capital improvements. So that's going up about 1.2 million. And this is the 6th year of the wastewater treatment plant contract with Veolia. This was sort of a trigger year where that contract is going up at least 11.5% with the indices, CPI, things like that. But this was a known trigger in that contract. So we knew the 6th year was gonna go up. So that's about $750,000 just for that alone.
Ryan, would you be kind enough to email all of us the salaries from top to bottom? Just
Salaries
update from everybody, all the staff here.
Sure.
Yeah, thank you. We have no questions, Mr. Chair.
And, sorry, just looking ahead, are we anticipating, because I know we have had a lot of capital improvement projects, including the CSO update. Are we anticipating that, at least for the next few years, we're gonna have rate increases?
So, probably. So the second half of the ICI work at the wastewater treatment plant will most likely kick in the fiscal year from now. The first half was the 34 million, but we got a significant debt forgiveness. We're not gonna receive that on the second half. So debt service is probably gonna go up another 1.5 million for next year. There won't be 11% increase on the wastewater treatment plant contract, other than the normal indices, so it could be 3%, 4%, or 5%. So there's that. And then, other than the CSO on our capital improvement plan, and the ARPA water mains, which is covered by money. Everything that the commission does is cash funded on that CIP. So if there's a break in the system somewhere that we have to repair, we have to pay for that. If we're any modifications to the water tanks, we have to pay for that. And then in the extreme, we talk about all the drought things and such. 3 years ago, we were this close to paying $1.2 million a month to MWRA to fill our reservoirs. That's what it would have taken to sustain our 100,000+ people. That number is probably $1.5 million. So, not a doomsday guy or anything like that, but these things go in cycles. So, that would have to be a cash transaction. I can't imagine there's a loan out there for, I'm sure you can't get a loan to buy water, through the bond market. So that would be something that we'd have to have reserves for. Again, nothing to say, but we were real close.
Right.
Zoom meetings, the whole bit, everything was
Yeah.
sort of getting butts into that.
Just want to remember that, yeah.
Yeah.
So, good contingency plan.
Yeah, yes.
Thank you.
Okay, no problem.
Does anyone have any questions about the budget? I mean, the summary, I think the takeaway is, for me, payroll is 28%, services is 26%, and debt's about 31%.
Yeah.
So, I mean, that's your,
Yeah,
that's how you
ties
run
in.
the operation, but the
Yeah.
debt's gonna increase, right, over time?
Yeah.
Yeah, the debt component.
We have some that's gonna fall off over time, but not on the SRF side, so unfortunately, that's
Yeah.
gonna, we haven't hit the top of the mountain just yet.
Right.
And that's just with projects that are going on now. That doesn't include the second half of the CSO separation project and anything that may have to be done at the water treatment plant over the next few years. So that would be new debt.
Okay. All right, thank you.
Sure, thank you.
All right, onto new business. Want someone to make a motion to enter into executive session to discuss a personnel matter?
Yeah, motion to executive session.
Second.
Second, all in favor?
Aye.
I need Dan and I need Sam. All right, coming back from executive session, no votes were taken. I'm back. Oh, returned at 6:01. Someone want to make a motion? I can't do it. Someone want to make a motion?
I can do it.
Can you read that?
So I'd like to make a motion to vote for Collins Group to help with an executive
I'm
job search.
Director.
To replace for the executive director. Thank you.
And to authorize
Good
the
Dan.
executive Dan, the
Yeah.
executive director to work with the Collins Group.
Yep, and authorize Dan to work with the Collins Group.
I second that.
All in favor?
Aye.
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 Roll call, you need a roll call?
roll call.
Yeah, okay. Commissioner Collins,
Yes.
Commissioner Pucci,
Yes.
Commissioner Grace,
Yes.
Commissioner Lozey,
Yes.
and Commissioner Salone.
Yes. Okay, someone make a motion to adjourn?
Motion to adjourn.
Second?
Third.
All in favor? Aye.
Aye.
Well, this is not.